What's up, Juventini? News picking up around the Mercato coming up in January with a deal already done and more to come. We're going to take a look at all of this. Is Fagioli now safe because of it? And Mirko Di Natale brings us a new name to add to the potential target list. We've also got a new sponsorship joining the family, but one that drums up old and bad feelings from some Juventini. We'll go through that. And then, of course, the Club World Cup draw and injury rundown. We'll tackle it all together right now. Berto, this is the AJCer channel dedicated to Juventus. It's December 5th. Let's rock with the news. And we kick things up with the news around the Mercato picking up steam. Obviously, the big one from yesterday was Di Marzio stating that terms have been agreed upon between Benfica and Juventus for the move for Antonio Silva, and apparently it does begin with a loan, and this is big. This could be critical because we were looking at selling Fagioli in order to fund moves in the Mercato. So does this make Fagioli safe? It very well could be, and maybe Giuntoli was telling the truth when he stated that we don't want to sell anybody in January, possibly outside of Artur, of course. But maybe, just maybe, we're still looking at more moves, and Fagioli technically isn't in the clear just yet because the rumors picking up around Silva And Hancko, and Mirko states that he is a concrete name and option for Juventus, and we could be making the move in January for the player. So let's wait and see. As far as Mirko Di Natale goes, he also brings us news around confirmations that Chico Conceição will in fact be redeemed at that release clause price of 30 million euros. With all due respect to Mirko Di Natale, no shit. If this wasn't going to be a yes or go down, I would personally be going to Turin, making my way in to Continassa, and slapping the shit out of everyone involved. Okay, so yes, thank you for the obvious news. But Mirko does bring us a new potential target on the list, and that is Hoffenheim's Tom Bischoff, the 19-year-old player, all right, who is extremely versatile. Does that sound like all of our targets kind of that we've been looking at? Yes, it should, and it should fit the bill for Thiago Motta. He is out of contract, and the renewals are not going well, according to Mirko Di Natale. This player can play as central midfielder, as central defender, and even attacking midfielder. So extremely versatile, could fit the mold, and he is very young. Does Juve make a move? This is not one for January, but could potentially be a free signing at season's end. Put that one in your back pocket. Now, we get to sponsorship. Juve finding a 2-year deal with TIM, the telecommunications company. All right, now this is not a major and it is not a main sponsor for Juve and our kits. What they are going to get is premium partner sponsorship. They are going to be on the sleeves of the women's first team, the U20 side, and they will have visibility at Allianz Stadium. Now, this one drums up some bad feelings. Of course, Tim was heavily involved in 2006 and what went down to Juventus. They had major people within the organization that also had ties and involvement and financial involvement with Inter. So obviously, very convenient that all of Inter's tapes went missing back in 2006. Also, some of the people that were involved with Tim made up the board that made the calls on punishment back in 06. So again, Juve picking a sponsor that had a lot to play in 2006. But there you go. The partnership is official and announced. Now, you get to the Club World Cup draw today. Of course, in a situation like this, you're going to have a lot of teams that are unfamiliar to many Juventini and familiar to some. But it's always fun to see, who do you want Juve to draw in today's draw for the Club World Cup. I have two clubs that come to mind, and I'll tell you the interesting story as to why. And it is kind of some ties, some personal, but also to Juventus. The first club is Boca. I would love to see Juve draw Boca, and both of these picks for me are for vibes. But Boca, obviously, I was a big fan of Riquelme growing up and whatnot. Obviously, he played for Boca. It made me watch Boca, and I always thought the crowd was intense. Their games were intense. It was a good feeling growing up watching that and everything. And of course, we share Carlos Tevez. Boca would be a cool one for the vibes for me personally. But the other one is River Plate. And the connection there between River Plate and Juventus is there. It dates back a long way, as Omar Sivori, who wrote an incredible story with Juventus, began at River Plate. You also have Pipita, who was at River Plate long before coming to Juventus, and then Trezeguet himself going to River Plate as one of the few sides he joined when his time came up with Juventus. But also 1996, when we won the Intercontinental Cup, we faced River Plate, and we wore this exact kit that I'm wearing today. A lot of stories there. These are the two teams that stand out. I would love to draw one of them personally for my own personal reasons and the vibes. For you, I'd love to hear the story of a club you would love to draw in this draw upcoming today for the Club World Cup. Let me know in the comments. Now, we get to an extension that is finalized and will be announced apparently after the Man City game. That is Gatti. Gatti gets his extension to 2030. His salary is going to increase from 1.4 million to 2.3. Okay, as far as the injury rundown goes, as follows: Savona in doubt for Bologna. We'll just watch him on a day-to-day basis. We know Vlahovic will be available for Thiago Motta. When it comes to Luiz, McKennie, and even Nico Gonzalez, the reports today suggest the aim for all three of them is Man City midweek. That's your news break. You all know the drill. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, join our AJC army, but let me know in the comments what you think about all the news you just heard here today. Let's mix it up. I'm back tomorrow as always. Till then, fino alla fine, forza Juventus. Ciao tutti.